The state fair may be fast approaching, but after that's done, a Rice County town will have a big festival of its own.
Northfield has celebrated their famous defeat of Jesse James for 75 years now. In this week's Finding Minnesota, John Lauritsen shows us how residents save their city.
I go somewhere and people ask me, where are you from? Northfield. One of the first things that most people say, oh, the defeat of Jesse James days.
Nearly every Minnesota town has a celebration centered around parties and pageantry, but Northfield may be the only one that honors the defeat of a famous American outlaw, and this will be the 75th year. They've reenacted their victory. This is video from the first reenactment in 1948.
I said to my dad, I want to be the guy that tells the story. So from a young age, I had my eye on being the announcer.
Tim Freeland was born and raised in Northfield and began going to the reenactments at a young age. At one point, he was an actor in the event. Today, he's the MC, which means he has to know the history of the raiders and the residents.
Why would you target a bank in Northfield, Minnesota?
One of their gang members, Bill Chadwell, was originally from Minnesota. And he talked the guys into coming here because he said, hey, these are going to be immigrants, farmers, merchants. These Scandinavians are going to roll over.
But Chadwell guessed wrong, and it cost him his life. On September 7, 1876, the James Younger gang arrived, after mostly robbing banks, trains, and stagecoaches in the South.
Just after 2 o'clock, 3 of the 8 gang members come in through this door here into the bank.
They jumped over the counter and became violent with the 3 employees on duty, especially bank teller Joseph Lee Haywood, who wouldn't give them the combination to the safe. At one point, Haywood even took matters into his own hands.
Haywood, and he is a hero, tries to shut that vault door on Charlie Pitts to lock him in.
Jesse James's brother Frank eventually shot and killed Haywood after being denied more than $15,000 inside the vault, equivalent to $500,000 today.
It gives me goosebumps to think these are the floorboards, and Haywood was killed right here, and he died, and his blood is in this wood.
The safe, the vault, the clock, and pretty much everything inside the bank are originals from that day.
Meanwhile, it's insane on the street. They're yelling, get out of here! Get out here, boys, they're shooting us up.
Businessman J.S. Allen sounded the first alarm by telling people to get their guns. Get your guns, boys! Henry Wheeler, a medical student, grabbed a Civil War rifle and ran to the 3rd floor of a hotel. From there, he shot and killed outlaw Clell Miller. Another businessman, Anselm Manning, shot and killed Chadwell. At that point, it seemed like the entire town was involved.
If they didn't have guns, they were using rocks.
Swedish immigrant Nikolaus Gustafsson also died in the shootout. So did a horse belonging to one of the outlaws. The robbers fled, and the victory by the Northfielders marked the beginning of the end for Jesse James and his gang.
Cole Younger says later in life that when they were in Northfield on Division Street, it was Hell's Gallery.
If they got the money from the bank, you know, the school district, the churches, the merchants, the farmers, the colleges, they would have been defunct. They would have lost. They would have gone bankrupt.
Which is why they celebrate today. A lot of people believe the real hero is Joseph Lee Haywood, the teller who refused to give up the vault.
He knew if that money was gone, what it meant for his friends, family, and his town.
In Northfield, John Lauritsen, WCCO News.
The James Younger gang only made off with about $26 that day. Jesse and Frank James were among those that escaped.
This year's festival will take place on September 6th through the 10th, and generations of family have taken part in the reenactment.